Hi everyone, you're watching Axon Talks, where we talk about our clients' stories. Our guest is Yoav Einav, as the CEO and co-founder of Guidde, the generative AI platform for business that helps teams create video documentation faster.
Guide can help you explain the most complex flows in seconds.
You can capture your flows with free browser extension, create step-by-step storylines with ChatGPT, add design, AI voiceover, and share your guides anywhere.
Thanks, Sophia, for having us. Excited to be here.
We are really curious to hear how the idea for Guide came about, how the AI tech has played a role, and how you meet customer needs. So first, let's talk about Guide itself. Tell us, please, how do you come up with the idea for Guide?
Cool. So, of course, so I think when COVID started, Dan is my co-founder, is based in San Francisco. So we saw a lot of shift in the B2B space and workplace to a remote first environment. And there were like tedious like Zoom session and a lot of questions going back and forth over Slack and other communication channel. And we said there must be a better way, more kind of a day-to-day tool to communicate, and video is probably the best medium because video is the closest thing to a human interaction which you can scale. And then we took a concept that I used to use a lot in my VP product days, which using videos across the entire sales cycle. We used to use videos for onboarding of new users and support tickets and new feature adoption, which was really effective. But the biggest pain was always creating the video content, get it approved by marketing, and then a few weeks later it changes and you need to start from scratch. So we were looking for ways to use AI to really simplify the process. And the goal of Guide is basically within 2 seconds, you can create a video that explains any feature, any workflow, any integration without any visual or design skills or video editing knowledge. So like really make the video accessible to anyone that needs to create a semi-professional video.
The release of OpenAI has been transformative for different industries. How did it impact Guide?
So I think OpenAI and any LLM models, Claude and others, are really, they shifted the entire industry, and I think it made the use of AI more accessible to everyone, and also the output easier. What we've seen a lot using LLMs in general is, first of all, creation of the content. Doesn't matter if I'm trying to write a blog post, a social post, or trying to create a video, like using LLM, it provides you a lot of the stuff that traditionally you would do manually, writing the script, doing the research, going over and proofing the text itself. So it helps you with the textual part, also with the visual part, the images and everything. And we've seen that it created a huge shift from creating text and screenshot and long PDF, which are really tiring, to more interactive content, personalized content that you can make accessible based on who the user is, right? If I'm a sales rep or an engineer looking for content about security, I don't expect the same content. So it really allows you to, first of all, create the content at scale, make it highly interactive, highly personalized, and then make it accessible using a more conversational flow versus dashboard or SQL queries or just Google search. So I think it's both the content creation side and the accessibility of the content based on need.
With such a flexible product, how do you go about defining your ideal customer profile?
So that's a great question. I think it's something I get asked a lot, especially for like a vertical SaaS tool that serves a lot of different use cases. If you look at our website, we have cyber customers and retail customers and fintech customers and like large organization and SMB. So it's really a pain point, like creating content, creating video, making it personalized is a pain point that is really, we see across the board. I think what makes the most important part is like people don't create content for the sake of video, right? They use it for a specific job to be done. And what we're usually looking for is what jobs we can optimize and what business KPIs it can drive. So as a simple reference is customer support. We have customers like DocuSign support or Checkpoint and others where using Guide, they're able to reduce the support offload, what you call ticket deflection. So instead of having 100 tickets an hour, they have 80 or 70. So you reduce 20-30% of the support load. If someone does reach support, they're able to send him a video, and the time to resolve the ticket now becomes 10 minutes and not 6 hours, because the user can watch the video, gets it, and just close the ticket, versus you write him, he doesn't get it, you send him a screenshot, he doesn't find it. Yeah, so there's like a 5-6 back and forth question. So I think on the support side, it's really clear, less tickets and faster time to resolution. And there's kind of other use case, for example, customer education. One of the metrics they usually measure is feature adoption. The more user will use the product and more feature, the better, more satisfaction, the more stickiness you get out of it. And what they measure is win rate in trials. More users that trial out the product will become a paying account because they use it more or smarter. So I think like those are two specific examples on, you don't just use videos to save time, you actually drive revenue or reduce cost. And that's, I think, the end goal using LLM in general or Gen AI to drive some business impact.
So we see that client feedback is really important for your business and for any evolving business as well. Could you tell us how you collect feedback at Guide? Are there any particular cases of when client feedback shaped your product?
Yeah, so I think it's always like there's two sides to it. First of all, is data, right? Especially in a product like ours, where we have 67 plus active users. So the data speaks. You look at the data, you see which feature they use, what make people pay, what make people churn. So I think data and data trends, like which persona, if we were speaking about ICP, which persona creates more content, which persona invites more content, features like translation or branding or blurring of private information. And so really based on the usage data, you can define what's the activation metric, what's the aha moment, when is the right timing to show a pop-up to upgrade or to loop in a sales rep. So I think data is one. Second one, which is as important, is like customer interviews, like real life interviews. Usually it's over Zoom because it's global, but there's like a lot of stuff that you can't really understand from the data. Like if someone churn, maybe he left because it's too expensive, maybe he didn't know there's a feature that exists and he didn't find it, and maybe he thought we're doing something else than what they expected based on the website. So I think interviewing the customers, usually both the churn customers and also the highly active customers, gives you a lot of insights. I think one of the probably stories we've seen a few months ago is we saw one of the largest retailers in the US using Guide. And in the beginning, it didn't make sense to us, like why would like a 40 years old retailer will use Guide for? And then we jumped on a call and he showed us how we created this manual flow to turn a PDF to a video, taking screenshot, copy pasting the text and so on. So of course, immediately the product team took that feedback, create a prototype, showed it to 10 other accounts, and then we created like this flow where you can upload hundreds of PDF, and within 2 minutes you get hundreds of videos in different languages, and just makes it more interactive. Because like think if you're a worker in McDonald's, would you rather get a 70 pages PDF with no training material, or a playlist with 8 short videos in your own languages? If you're in Mexico, it will be in Spanish, and if you're in Japan, it will be in Japanese, and it's interactive. We can ask questions during the video. So I think it's just like PDF to video is like just one example out of a few others that data doesn't tell the whole story. So that's like where you need people in the loop.